Welcome to the deep dive. We're jumping into the sources you sent over for this dive.
Yeah.
We've got two quite different things here. Some info on photography and video services in London, Ontario, and then this other piece about, well, creative seasons.
Yeah, exactly. And our goal here isn't just to, read them out. We want to unpack what's really insightful, find the practical bits, and see how these maybe quite different ideas could connect for you.
Okay, sounds good. Let's kick off with the first one then. This source is very specific. It gives us the lowdown on professional photography and videography from Mr. G, or Somkiat Saelek, who's based right there in London, Ontario.
Right. And what's striking about this one is just how, well, useful it is directly. It tells you straight up who, where, and what they focus on capturing those beautiful and unique moments. It's very direct for someone who actually needs that kind of service in that specific place.
Totally. And it lays out the next step, clearly, if you are looking. You get the phone number, +1 548-881-1012, the email, somkiat.ce@gmail.com, and even two websites, somkiat.ca and www.clickgstudio.ca. Plus, it confirms availability in London and nearby. It's really the practical who and how for capturing something important.
Exactly. It's a very sort of tangible example of creative work skills applied for a client need. So the question is, how do we get from this very practical service in one city to something more conceptual, like the flow of creativity?
Good point. And that leads us straight into the second piece. This one uses a really nice metaphor, seasons of seeing.
Yeah. This source suggests thinking about creativity less like a constant tap you turn on and more like, well, like nature's seasons. It ebbs and it flows. It's a perspective that encourages kind of going with these cycles instead of, pushing against them all the time.
Yeah. And this bit I found really interesting. It talks about how understanding these creative seasons can actually be really helpful. Personal changes, big life stuff, even what's happening in the world. All that can shift how an artist creates or what they create.
Yeah.
But the source frames these shifts not as problems, but just as, well, natural parts of the journey, maybe even necessary parts.
Yeah, and it prompts thinking about actual strategies for navigating these changes. The source mentions things like mindfulness, being flexible, maybe not demanding perfection all the time. It's less about forcing creativity and more about supporting it through whatever phase it's in, right?
Yeah.
So your kind of core creativity can stick around even if how you express it changes.
Right. So, okay, we've got one source giving us the absolute nuts and bolts, how to find someone to capture moments.
Yeah.
Very specific, very actionable. And then the other gives us this much broader cyclical view of the whole internal creative process itself. One's the practical capture, the other's the mindset behind it.
Exactly. It really highlights the range and the material you provided. You've got the immediate how-to of hiring someone, and then there's a deeper sort of philosophical take on the creative life over time.
So the tool of the photographer and the context, the shifting landscape of creativity.
Precisely. And, maybe here's something to leave you with, a thought to mull over. This seasons of seeing idea, it's presented mainly from the creator's angle, right? The artist managing their own creative flow. But what if you apply that idea to yourself? As the viewer looking back at photos or videos from your life, does your view of those captured moments, the value you find in them, does that change as you go through your own personal seasons? Maybe the meaning of a picture isn't fixed. Maybe it evolves right along with you.